Hello everybody, I'm KC and welcome to the latest First Impressions video, which are my somewhat scripted initial thoughts on the San Diego Comic-Con 2019 reveals. I did one of these last year and I really enjoy covering all of the reveals and sneak peeks across all sorts of nerdy franchises, and there was a lot, and I mean a lot of exciting news from shows and films that I'm into this year, so I decided to do it again. And since this is a First Impressions video, I'm doing this all in one take, or I'm doing all of the paragraphs in one take, so if I talk over myself or if I stutter like I did just like 10 seconds ago, that's why, because I'm not doing multiple takes of this. We're just gonna do this all in one go. And let's start with the biggest franchise with the biggest reveals, Marvel. So as theaters all over the world finish mopping up tears from the screenings of Avengers Endgame, and Marvel Studios rakes in the dough that made it the highest grossing movie of all time, suck it Avatar, fans have been left to wonder over the last couple of months, what now? Well, after skipping SDCC last year, Marvel came back to Hall H with a buttload of reveals, revealing a good chunk of the plans for Phase 4 spread across feature films and limited series on Disney's upcoming streaming service, Disney+. Seriously, there's a lot here, so I'm going to go through this best I can. The long-rumored Black Widow movie was finally confirmed, and it will be the next movie released in the MCU next year. I don't think there has been a more asked-for movie for the MCU, at least not since the Webslinger joined up. Natasha definitely has an intriguing past that you could easily make a movie on. Some people are concerned that explaining it will take away that intrigue, and while I certainly understand that, I doubt Marvel will drop the ball here. This is one of their flagship characters in terms of the movies. This is one of the original Avengers. They're not gonna screw this up. And after seeing Natasha's development over the last several movies, and especially after what happened in Endgame, it'll be interesting to see who she used to be and how she wound up where she did, both externally and internally, considering what we know about her past by the time we met her. And I really hope we see the moment where Clint made a different call. That's at the top of my wish list for this movie. It also looks like Taskmaster might be the main villain in this movie, which will be very exciting to see how he's interpreted into the MCU. I don't know much about Taskmaster, but I know he's a big deal. And this is a big deal. Also, David Harbour is going to be in it. I don't even care as what. Hopper is going to be in the MCU. Heck yeah. I really needed that after... Yeah, actually, that's spoilers. Moving on. The first movie they announced at the panel, though, was called The Eternals. Now, we're reaching the point of characters who haven't been featured in the animated shows, so I've never even heard of these guys before. This group might even be obscure by comic standards, but feel free to correct me on that. That said, they sound intriguing as a concept. The cast is made up of new and recognized talent, which is a winning direction for Marvel movies. Not to mention incredibly diverse. Probably the most diverse cast the MCU has had so far. And teen movies have certainly been successful in the past for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so it makes sense why they'd want to tackle this. This certainly sounds different, and I'm interested to see how a concept like this fits into the larger universe, and how the MCU will hopefully make these godlike immortals grounded and accessible to us as an audience. What I heard from the presentation is very assuring about that. For our first Disney Plus series, we've got the Falcon and the Snowman. Oh my god, I was saying how the Falcon and the Winter Soldier sounds like the Falcon and the Snowman, and then that's what I wrote in the freaking script. I don't even know if I'm even going to keep this in the video, but... Okay, what I meant was, we've got the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And this is hands down the Disney Plus series I'm looking forward to the most. From the second it was announced when the streaming service was, even more after Endgame, and especially after this official announcement. Like, just the idea of Sam and Bucky running around on crime-fighting adventures was fun and exciting enough, but now that Cap is retired and passed the mantle on to Sam, there's the possibility of this whole self-discovery angle, and the pressure of taking on such a huge title. Kind of like what Peter was feeling in Far From Home. And Bucky is certainly no stranger to identity crises, so I think it's nice that they get to share this series at such a transformative time. Like, this wasn't something you could develop in the background. This needed to be the main focus, and this is a great way to do it. Plus, Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan have an infectious chemistry that could easily sustain a series on its own. There's just a lot of potential with this series, and I am hyped through the roof for it. Another movie coming up is called ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is another superhero I know nothing about, but I am really intrigued by what we've seen so far. This sounds like a really exciting movie. I love the enthusiasm of the director and the lead playing ShangChi. ShangChi sounds like a cool hero. A quick look at the Marvel Wiki tells me he can duplicate himself, so that's a new power that could be really fun to see. And of course, the Ten Rings. You all know I love my interconnecting elements in the MCU, and this is one people have been hoping would have more of a payoff than it has up to this point, and it looks like we're finally going to get it, so that's going to be satisfying to say the least. And because I always get comments about the idea of the real Mandarin running around out there, let me reiterate and make this perfectly clear. I don't care. Does he have the potential to be a cool villain? Yes, of course, and it'll be great if he is. Does this fix my problems with Iron Man 3? Not a single one of them. Accuracy of the comics or whatever was never my issue with the villains in that movie. Something I clearly didn't make clear in my review, judging from how much people want to tell me that there is a real Mandarin. Okay, great. Now please, please, please stop messaging me about the Mandarin. I usually don't want to discourage you guys from commenting, but I have nothing else to say about this matter until this movie comes out. Alright? Moving on. Another Disney Plus series coming is focusing on more beloved MCU side characters, WandaVision. Focusing on, well, Wanda and Vision. Now, what's weird about this series is that I thought it was going to take place during that lapse between Civil War and Infinity War, as a way to show how Wanda and Vision's relationship evolved during Wanda's time on the run. And I was even more certain of this given, well, what happened to poor Vision in Infinity War. But no. Apparently this takes place after Endgame, so I have several questions. So did they try to rebuild Vision? And if so, will he be the same person now that he'll no longer be the Keeper of the Mind Stone? This could be another good look at identity, especially since this series will possibly be focusing on Wanda evolving into more of a hero in her own right. And maybe how much the two have and will change will affect their relationship. Romance has never been the MCU's strongest point, and it's no secret I've never loved the idea of Wanda and Vision being in a relationship, even though I know it's a thing in the comics. But depending on where they go with this has the potential to be one of the most engaging romantic relationships in the MCU. Also, Monica Rambeau is coming back as an adult. I called it, and I cannot wait to see what she grew up to be. Even more Disney Plus, we've got something I can't believe took them this long to produce, a series focused solely on Loki. So remember in Endgame where Loki from the past zapped away with the Tesseract? This series is apparently about where he went after that. This is the one I'm the most concerned about. Don't get me wrong, I love Loki just as much as y'all do, but they emphasize that since this is right after the events of the Avengers, this is before Loki developed as a character so much, and Loki's arc as a character is pretty solid, so I'm a little worried about squishing a multiple episode series right in the middle of that. It could be fitting a peg perfectly into a hole, but it could also be like trying to smash a square-shaped peg into a round hole, desperately wanting to be filled with audience admiration, piggybacking off of one of the franchise's most popular characters. Then again, Loki probably wouldn't have grown as much as he did if it wasn't for that popularity. Tom Hiddleston always delivers, and Marvel rarely fails, so I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. A series starring Loki still sounds like a lot of fun despite my concerns. But if you're wondering what Marvel announcement I was most excited about, it was that they finally confirmed a Doctor Strange sequel. It's about freaking time. I've loved Steven's journey since day one, and ever since we lost Tony, he's become like my rebound favorite character. So I've been more and more anxious to have this confirmed, and here it is, and it sounds like it'll be something really special. The fact that it's going to be the MCU's first horror movie, though, does worry me a little, just because I'm not really a horror person. At least the fact that it's still going to be PG-13 does make me a little less scared. And there are so many things to be excited about in the sequel. Scarlet Witch is going to be in it and teaming up with Strange, which is great. I love me some heroes teaming up. We'll be traveling the multiverse, it seems like, which is apparently real and not just a line made up by Quentin Beck, and that it's even happening. There's so much potential with Doctor Strange from a world building and character perspective, and hearing just bits of this premise shows me just how much the team behind this movie are going to take advantage of that have potential in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Only downside? We have to wait another 2 years. Boo! And I don't have too much to say about this What If series they're working on. I'll definitely check it out. It sounds like a really cool idea that I hear is based on a series of comics. Having the Watcher host it Rod Serling style is a great idea, and that's about all there is for now. What I will say is that I share a curiosity/concern that a lot of other people have, and that's that I'd like to see what the animation style is going to be, because there's little to no information on the animation itself. How the show will end up looking is probably going to be make or break for a lot of fans. Hawkeye will also be getting a Disney Plus series, which while the other Plus series had been rumored, I don't think this one was. But I'm very excited to see Clint get a spotlight all to himself. Well, mostly anyway, since it sounds like the series is going to be about Hawkeye training someone to take on his mantle. And I am certainly excited to meet Kate Bishop in this series. I know little to nothing about her, but I've seen people are very excited to have her introduced, so I'm sure it'll be great. Plus, seeing Clint deal with everything that happened during Endgame and taking this step towards the retirement he's wanted since Age of Ultron, there's definitely a lot of room for character conflict and development that should be interesting to see with Hawkeye as the main focus for once. He's certainly earned it. But this series seems to just be another example of an original Avenger passing down their title to someone new, and it wasn't the last time we'd see an announcement like that from this panel, which brings us to Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, another Thor movie. I'm gonna be honest, when this was confirmed right before the convention, I was skeptical. I always liked that Marvel franchises, aside from the Avengers, seem to be neatly packaged trilogies, and none have gone beyond that yet, because if they do, you could suffer from franchise fatigue. And I guess Thor is in the unique position of his third movie being hands down the best one and so tonally different, but I was still a little concerned. And then this panel happened. I'm going to assume that this will take place after Thor has his little adventure with the Guardians, so I'm not quite sure where he'll go as a character at this point, but Thor's journey has become one of the most elaborate in the MCU. A lot of his journey has been about finding out who he is and where he belongs as he's changed and after everything he's been through. So who knows where he'll be by the time we get to this movie. And of course Valkyrie will be back, and I suspect going through some of the same pressure of figuring out what it means for her to rule the people of Asgard. I'm sure someone on the throne who wasn't an heir to it is a new thing for these people, so there's a lot of potential for story here. Oh, and they tease that the new king would be looking for her queen, which was then later confirmed as a nod to Valkyrie being bisexual. So that's pretty awesome. And I know I just said the MCU isn't great at romance, but we'll see where this goes. But I'm sure certain Captain Marvel fans are very, very invested in the potential prospects here. I can hear the fanfiction being typed out now. But I said that this movie would possibly be about passing the mantle of Thor as a hero on, and you all saw this, so I'm not even going to bother building it up. Natalie Portman is returning as Jane Foster and becoming the new Thor. This is very exciting for a lot of reasons. One, Natalie Portman has had one of the most vocally unpleasant experiences with Marvel, and while she is one of the very few who have, it's still such a shock to see that they got her to come back and she's going to become Thor. Now, whether or not this will be for just this movie or if this will start a new franchise, we don't know, but just the idea that between this and making Sam the new Captain America, they're bringing that era of progressive characters changes into the MCU, it's going to be very exciting to see on the big screen. And if you need a rundown of Jane's time as Thor like I did, even though I knew this was a thing when this was announced, Comic Drake did a great video breaking down what makes Jane's time as Thor so compelling. Not just for her, but for Thor himself. And given where we've taken Thor's journey in the MCU so far, adapting this run could fit like a glove. And learning more about it makes me want to read the original story for myself. If anyone knows if they're available through trades or something, please let me know. I know some people are upset and feel like Valkyrie should have taken on the role of female Thor, and while I get that, and if you had just told me of the possibility of a female Thor in the MCU, I would have guessed it would be Valkyrie too, I'm still very curious curious to see how they fit Jane back into the MCU and how this version of the character will take on the mantle of Thor. But my biggest question is, will she be getting her own weapon, or will she be getting a Stormbreaker? Because unless we get involved in time travel shenanigans again, we don't have Mjolnir anymore. Just food for thought. I was originally against the idea of another Thor movie, but after seeing just the possibilities of what the future could hold, I'm on board. Now, there were other things teased but not elaborated on that they're likely saving until D23 next month, like Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and possibly, hopefully, the Fantastic Four. Please. But there was one other reveal of what's to come. There's not many details, but what there is really amazing. And again, you all know, so I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Mahershala Ali will be joining the MCU as Blade. I understand if some people are upset that it won't be Wesley Snipes, or that technically Mahershala Ali played a big role in Luke Cage, I think. But this is so exciting, I do not care. Ali is such a great actor, and I love that after he won his Oscar for Green Book, his very next course of action was calling Kevin Feige and insisting he play Blade. And again, we don't know anything yet beyond the fact that he's going to play him and it's not going to come out for a while. But this was such an incredible note to end on. I'm so glad this wasn't rumored or leaked, and while I anxiously await more news, there's certainly a lot here to keep us occupied in the meantime. So far, Phase 4 looks like an incredible mix of old and new faces on exciting adventures and challenges, and a lot of experimenting with new ideas. After how final Endgame felt, it's great to see just how much is planned for the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. Wow. That was, at least 7 pages and over 3,000 words on just Marvel alone. Okay, you know what? We're gonna have to split this into 2 parts. First time I've ever done a first impressions video in 2 parts, but yeah, unless you guys want to watch a 45-minute video of me rambling about Comic-Con news, we're just gonna do it like this. So, thank you all for watching. This was all my thoughts on everything Marvel announced, at least in terms of the movies. I know there was some video game stuff, but I don't really care. And next time, we'll cover announcements that I was really excited about that cover everything else. So, let me know what announcement from Marvel you guys were most excited about, what things that they haven't announced that you would like to see. This is a very blank slate right now, not as blank as it was 2 months ago, but, you know, there's definitely going to be some more unknown territory going forward, and I'm interested to see what you guys are looking forward to the most, and what you'd like to see the most, so, you know, let me know. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.